They say the dead can't speak, but if they could, the echoes from that small Georgia town would have screamed the truth. It was a quiet Thursday morning, January 10, 2013, when a student at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia, noticed something strange in the corner of the gym. A cluster of vertical, rolled-up wrestling mats stood there as always, stored behind the bleachers. But one of them didn't look quite right. It was upright, slightly tilted, and at the top of the mat was what looked like a pair of white socks, barely visible in the dim light of the old gymnasium. By the time staff pulled the mat down, the scene became something out of a nightmare. Inside, rolled up like a discarded rug, was the body of 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson. Face down, limbs awkwardly pressed against the narrow interior, blood pooled beneath his head, dried against the gym floor. The high school gym fell into chaos. Kendrick wasn't just any student. He was a bright, athletic teenager with dreams of playing college football. He had a wide smile, wore dreadlocks, and came from a tight-knit African-American family. But now he was gone, suffocated inside a mat, in a space teeming with students and staff, right under everyone's nose. What happened next turned a tragedy into a chilling national mystery, with layers of suspicion, corruption, and the haunting possibility that Kendrick Johnson's death was no accident. The official story: authorities were quick to respond. The Lowndes County Sheriff's Office launched an investigation and within days gave their official explanation: Kendrick had died in a freak accident. According to investigators, Kendrick had apparently dropped one of his shoes into the upright mat. Instead of reaching around or asking for help, he supposedly climbed atop another mat, leaned into the opening headfirst, and got stuck while trying to retrieve his sneaker. They concluded that he became trapped and suffocated, unable to pull himself out of the tightly wound mat. Case closed. But that explanation didn't sit right with Kendrick's family, especially his parents, Kenneth and Jacqueline Johnson. They knew their son. He was strong, agile, and not the type to do something so reckless. The theory painted Kendrick as clumsy or careless, which contradicted the very nature of the boy they raised. And then there was the blood. Kendrick was found head first in a mat that was nearly 6 feet tall, yet there was a pool of blood outside the mat on the floor beneath him. If he died inside the mat, how had blood managed to escape and collect underneath? And what about the shoe? The same sneaker he allegedly died trying to retrieve was found behind his legs in the mat, clean and bloodless. Questions began to swirl, and they only grew darker from there. Missing organs, missing justice. A few months after Kendrick's death, the Johnsons had their son's body exhumed for a second, independent autopsy. What they discovered was beyond shocking. The body had been stuffed with newspaper. The independent pathologist, Drive, William Anderson, reported that Kendrick's internal organs were missing, including his brain, heart, lungs, and liver. In their place was crumpled newsprint. The funeral home claimed they had received the body that way and used the newspaper as standard practice for embalming. But that explanation didn't hold up. Standard embalming practices do not involve stuffing a body with newsprint. And why were Kendrick's organs missing in the first place? The Georgia Bureau of Investigation said the organs were destroyed through natural process because of the body's condition. But how could every major organ vanish without a trace? The second autopsy also contradicted the first. Dr. Anderson found blunt force trauma to Kendrick's right neck and jaw, evidence of non-accidental injury. He ruled the cause of death as unexplained, non-accidental, blunt force trauma. Still, local authorities refused to reopen the case. The Johnsons refused to back down. A family's fight. Kenneth and Jacqueline Johnson turned grief into a relentless pursuit of the truth. They held press conferences, protested on the steps of the county courthouse, and even staged a sit-in inside the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office. They believed their son had been murdered, and they weren't alone. Speculation spread like wildfire. Many began to suspect that Kendrick may have gotten into an altercation with other students, possibly over a past incident. His parents recalled a fight Kendrick had previously with a student from a prominent local family, the Bell brothers, both sons of an FBI agent. Rumors exploded that one or both brothers had confronted Kendrick in the gym, and things had gotten violent. Supporters of the Johnson family pointed out the glaring issue: the school's surveillance system. Video footage from inside the gym was released, but it was bizarre. Parts were missing, and timestamps jumped or vanished altogether. In a building full of students, the videos showed almost no one near the gym at the time Kendrick supposedly entered it. The Johnsons were certain this was a cover-up, and some people believed the powerful were involved in keeping the truth buried. They sued nearly 40 individuals in a wrongful death suit, including the Bell brothers and various school and law enforcement officials, alleging a conspiracy to hide a murder. The suit was eventually dropped, but not because the Johnsons gave up. It was dismissed without prejudice, meaning it could be refiled. The U.S. Justice Department even opened its own investigation in 2014. But in 2016, federal investigators closed the case without filing charges. The department said it found insufficient evidence to prove that a crime had been committed. Once again, the official story remained: death by accident. Reopened and reburied. In 2021, 8 years after Kendrick's death, Lowndes County Sheriff Ashley Polk reopened the case. He promised transparency and reviewed over 17 boxes of evidence and more than 3,000 documents. But in 2022, Polk concluded, again, that there was no foul play. He dismissed all murder theories, claiming the evidence supported the original finding of accidental death. He even called the idea of murder a hoax. The Johnson family rejected the findings. To them, it was just another betrayal in a long line of disappointments. They still believe Kendrick was murdered. They still believe his death was covered up. And they still believe someone, somewhere, knows the truth. A town divided, Valdosta, Georgia, remains haunted by the case. For some, it's a tragic accident. For others, it's an emblem of injustice, racism, and power protecting its own. To this day, the Johnson family continues to seek answers. They've raised awareness on social media, taken their cause to national outlets, and even gotten the attention of celebrities and politicians. The name Kendrick Johnson became more than just a memory. It became a symbol. A boy went to school and never came home. His body was found in a place where he should have been safe. And yet, no one has ever been charged. No one has ever been held accountable. Kendrick's case has joined the ranks of other chilling, unresolved stories, mysteries wrapped in official explanations that seem too neat, too convenient. Maybe someone out there knows what happened in that gym. Maybe the truth has been buried, like Kendrick, too deep to uncover. But his parents believe the truth can't stay buried forever. They still ask the same question the nation has been asking for more than a decade. How does a healthy teenage boy end up dead inside a rolled-up gym mat, and no one saw a thing? That question, like the mat, still stands upright, unanswered.